What is happening, DJ Talk family? How y'all doing? First of all, welcome to the 48th episode of DJ Talk. Now, before we get started, I would like to drop by here and say that hope you all are doing great and keep doing what you're doing. Just don't quit at all. So, if you guys are new to this channel, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the bell for notifications and many more to come. So, without any further ado, let's get right to it. In today's episode, how we're going to be talking about how to create a positive atmosphere. You know, this is a very interesting topic that we're going to be talking about here. It's nothing new. It's going to be very, very, very interesting. So, the question is, how do we create a positive atmosphere? It starts with where you're at. That's where it starts. It starts in a place that you are in, because that's where you want to start. That's where it would start, whether it's at work, your home, at the park, at a restaurants, at church, the streets, the neighborhood, etc. It doesn't matter where it is. But it starts wherever you are at. And believe me, once you start to confess something positive in your life, and create a positive environment, you will be happy and you will enjoy the atmosphere over where you're at. When you are in a negative environment and someone who has bad intentions on what to do, neither provoke you, bother you, curse at you, or even try to pretend to play victim just to blame everything on you. But when it comes to that, you just have to take a step back and analyze the situation and figure out and ask yourself this question. How do I turn a negative into a positive? And how do I avoid this kind of negativity that is out there just to get where I need to get? And the answer is, only you can answer that question yourself. You have to answer that yourself. You guys know the answer to that question? Make sure you just comment down below. My suggestion is avoid negativity. Because negativity is a cancer and a sickness to all humanity. And that is something that we have to be very, 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 very careful with. All of those things. So anyway, back to the question. How do we avoid entering in a negative environment, and how do we stay in our lane? Well, the thing is, when you enter into an environment when you are hearing lots of trash talking or fighting or any kind of other situation that is going on over there, but you have that. Sometimes you want to figure out how are you going to overcome that. But when you enter there, you better be ready. You better be prepared and ready for what's to happen. And prepare yourself, because there's going to be a lot of emotions and a lot of craziness over there. So make sure you go in there with a positive and professional attitude. Many times we need to replace those We need to replace things in our lives. So, what do we need to do? I'll tell you what we need to do. We need to do something. You know what something is? Create a positive atmosphere. And and back to the question, how do we create a positive atmosphere? Well, there are ways to create a positive atmosphere. And one of them is number 1, avoid negativity. 2, avoid stress. 3, avoid drama. 4, avoid control your emotions. 5, avoid arguments. 6, avoid bad thoughts. 7, think of think of the great times. 8, avoid fighting. 9, communication is the key. 10, stay focused. 11, be driven. 12, avoid having a misunderstanding. 13, listen to positive things. 14, avoid trying to be aggressive. 15, take a step back and analyze the situation. 16, be better every day. 17, avoid being a victim. 18, understand the circumstances. 19, always have self-control. 20, avoid the wrong crowd. 21, be motivated. 22, make the best decision in your life. 23, solve a problem. 24, make changes. 25, work on yourself. 26, communicate with others. And last but not least, 27, learn to understand other people's situation. Look, I know that when it comes to a lot of these things, it's very hard, and not only into your mind it may be a hard thing to do, but also at the end of the day, it's a challenge, you know? We are being challenged not to let those things come into our lives, you know? Because once you do that, it's over. I don't like to be the bearer of bad news here, but at some point, at some time, you have to make changes. You know, basically, right? I'll tell you. It's not easy, you know? And I was hearing this one time, but basically, it's not easy to have a positive attitude, you know, because it may be difficult to have a positive attitude when it comes to being in a negative place, like I said earlier. But the important thing is to try to understand the situation. And you know, I was talking to someone today, right? Well, not today, but a few days ago, right? I'm not gonna say names, but it's not a bad person, you know, it's a good person, right? And he was telling me this, and he says, you know, there's gonna be a lot of situations that are gonna be a negative, it's gonna be drama, it's gonna be all those kind of things out there. And sometimes you need to ask yourself, how do I change? If I'm in a negative place, you know what? I need to use my ability to change the atmosphere over there. You know, like take for instance, when you are in a negative environment, right? You want to try to say to yourself and motivate yourself and say, you know what? I need to basically change and turn a bad situation into a positive situation. And that's what it needs to do. So, take for example, let's say you're in a tough spot, you're in a difficult situation. What do you want to do? You want to turn a negative into a positive. You want to change that. You want to say positivity is always going to be the key of all time. You know that? And basically, We need to see and have faith, because when it comes to faith, we want to have good thinking in our minds. Like, we want to have positive thinking instead of negative thinking. So, you see, when it comes to these circumstances and these ways of doing things correctly, sometimes in life we need to think positive, be positive, act positive, and stay positive at all times. Sometimes in life we need to open up to others to find out what the solution of their problem is. And in order to find the solution to the problem, one word and one word only: communication. As human beings, we need to communicate with each other. We need to open up to one another. We need to resolve the issues. And that is the only way we can break the curse of negativity, because communication, for us, for all of us, not just for me, not just for one person, but for all of us, is the only way to solve the problem. And because everything in life, you want to be part of a solution. Instead of being part of the problem, you want to be part of a solution. Because I've been with people, right, who always say these words all the time. And they would say, don't be part of the problem, be part of the solution. And you know what? That's all we need to be. We all want to be part of a solution. And sometimes we need to ask ourselves, what kind of problem we can solve together? Well, we need to start strategizing what needs to be fixed, because when we go through tough times together, we need to figure out how we can change it into something good, into something great. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we need to do. We need to change the outcome of everything that happens out there. Like, communication, like I said before, is the only way to solve the problem. And not only that, but also it makes everything go away. I guess the old saying that goes something like this: pain is temporary. And you know what? They're absolutely right. Pain is temporary, but pain is not permanently. So when you feel like giving up, don't do it. When you feel like throwing in the towel, don't do it. When you feel like having a bad thoughts about others that are going through a great life and enjoying everything that happens in their lives, don't do it. Because if you do it, then and only then you will be doing damage to yourself. And you are basically destroying yourself. So, my thing is this: try to avoid being mature. Forget about all the maturities that you've been through. Forget about all the negative stuff that you've been through. Because once you forget all of that, you have to start to think and say, you know what? I'm better than this. I am more mature than I've ever been before. That's what you want to have, that thought in your mind. So my thing is, focus on making things right. So you see, if you want to create a positive atmosphere, you have to think before you talk, think before you act, think before you say something bad to others. So that's what it is right there. It's about thinking before we before you act. So sometimes you have to think before some things are not, because you see, Words are like seeds in our lives. You know what I mean? Because sometimes in life, we are sowing something that needs to be sowed. Now, take for instance, if you want to have a bad thought about sowing a plant, you want a plant to grow great. You want a good plant. You don't want no plants to die. No. You want a plant that can grow. And not only that, but you want to receive great fruits. You want to receive nutritious over there. So that's what it is. Sometimes it's about thinking before you react to certain things. So before I wrap this episode up, I would like to say this. Never give up. Never give into the bad thoughts, because if you do, you'll ruin everything and that you have and let others walk all over you. So thank you everyone for tuning in, and stay tuned for the next episode of DJ Talk. Stay positive, stay confident. Peace out.